Okay, so we're looking at separating out substances. In the last video we looked at peas and sand, a really straightforward one. This one's slightly more complicated, but using really simple chemicals that you can find around the house, or again within a local supermarket, or even in your primary school you might have these sitting around. So I've got some salt here, quite easy to come by, and some black pepper, again relatively simple to come by to do this experiment. I've also got a jug of water here, and this experiment's really looking at how to separate these two substances, salt and pepper. So obviously they look very different. If I take just the salt here, and I've just got this container, and put a little bit of salt in the container, okay, here, and I also take some pepper and just sprinkle the pepper in to the salt. Doesn't matter which order it goes in, just that it's a mixture of the two, like so. So you can point out to the pupils that obviously this is a mixture of the two chemicals. They haven't joined together, they haven't reacted at all, they're just both in there but mixed together. But you can then challenge the pupils, how can you separate the two substances? How can you separate the salt from the pepper? Now this is a bit more challenging because obviously both chemicals are quite small. The particles, the bits of salt and the bits of pepper are quite small. It's quite difficult to know a way to easily separate them quickly. Again, you might get pupils that come up with vast different ideas of how to do this. Some might suggest picking them out with tweezers, but you can point out, of course, that that's going to take a lot of time and not easy to do. However, you can obviously see a difference between them, so that is possible. But a really simple way to separate the two, the salt and the pepper, is just simply to take another container, put some water in it, okay, and once the water's in it, if you just let it settle, and then simply by sprinkling the mixture on top, the salt will sink initially and then dissolve into the water. The pepper is insoluble in the water, so it won't dissolve, but it will float on top of the water. So the pepper will go to the top, the salt will go to the bottom, and you've separated them. Now some pupils might say, we haven't got them completely apart, but you could point out or get them to scoop out the pepper at the end so that we've separated out the two. So let's give it a shot. So we're simply going to just sprinkle it on top like so, and you might be able to pick up on the video that the salt is going to the bottom, and the pepper, I can see it clearly. You might not see so well in the video, but if you try this yourself, you'll soon see the pepper floats on top, and it works every time, so it's well worth a go.